Okay, this first part is literally just to prove that I can fold clothes, but this is dirty. I choose not to. And I'll tell you why. I like to be able to see my clothes. We have very limited dresser space. So I roll everything so I can see it and just grab it handily. Okay, stop shouting at me. Thank you so much for joining me again, and I appreciate your patience on this video in particular. I've wanted to do it for a while. We are obviously in 2022. This should be my third year of giving up fast fashion, but if you've seen the title and you're capable of critical thinking, then you might realise that we're probably not going to make it there. We probably, maybe, definitely have fallen at a hurdle, which I'll talk about a bit later on. So stay tuned. Maybe grab a cup of tea. I'm going to hope that this isn't very long, and I'm going to try and keep it as concise and as brief as possible, but people have sent in a lot of questions, a lot of similar questions coming in. But like any good story, I think we should start at the very beginning, which is why I decided to give up fast fashion. A few disclaimers that I want to just get straight out from the off. Sustainable fashion is more accessible for me, and secondhand fashion as well, because I am straight-sized. I have more disposable income than maybe the average person who maybe wants to go on this journey, which means I can buy from more slow fashion brands and stuff like that. So this video isn't to shame anyone who is finding it difficult to move away from fast fashion. I really just want this to be more something that you watch and hopefully makes you think about your shopping habits, makes you look at your own wardrobe and realize that it's all about small changes and building to something more substantial. And just to stress again that sustainable fashion should be accessible to all, and I hope we will get to a point where it is. I believe it will be. And the other thing then is that obviously I don't believe the onus should be on individuals. It should obviously be on corporations, because they're the ones making the largest impact in terms of on the environment. They're the ones not paying staff fairly, etc., etc. I could go on, but I still think it is totally understandable why individuals would want to make these changes themselves, and I don't think we should criticize them for that. Anyway, back to what I was saying, why I started. If you follow me a long time, you'll probably already know this, and I included it in my last update when I was a year off fast fashion, which was in 2021. All the years are blending together. So I have no idea, did I just stick my thumb in my tea? I don't know. I've always loved fashion. I've always been drawn to the idea of vintage fashion, owning these unique pieces that nobody else could possibly own. Love the patterns, love the colours. It just, not to be like, it should have been born in a different era, because it's not what I mean. They had typhoid back then, you know, but I was more, I felt my personal style definitely aligned with that more. I remember Lily Allen opened her vintage shop. I remember just being obsessed with that. Just seemed so glam as well. And again, I found as I was growing older and kind of growing more into woman, I was becoming more sentimental about clothes and seeing things getting another lease of life, and buying a piece and knowing that someone else owned it prior to me. I found that really interesting. And then just even beyond that, my own style at the time and my shopping habits, they were bad. I was the person who was terrified of outfit repeating. I loved going to festivals, but I had to have something new every day of a festival, and it had to be something different from last year. So I would usually buy lots of little cheap things and put an outfit together, but they couldn't be really worn on the day-to-day, or I wouldn't ever really wear them again because I'd obviously already worn them to this. I loved a sale rail. I didn't really like paying full price for things, which again I think just fed into the secondhand avoiding fast fashion thing. I still like to be thrifty, but I was just kind of getting fed up of it as well, because a lot of the stuff that I was buying from the big you-know-whos, the quality was just really bad. The quality didn't last either. I wasn't happy in the clothes. I wasn't confident in the clothes. So it kind of got to a point where I was already shopping secondhand a lot and vintage a lot. And I made a call in, it would have been 2019. It was May-ish 2019. And I just said, you know what, I'm just going to try it for a year. I'm going to try and not buy anything fast fashion for a year and see how we get on. So yeah, it was May 2019-ish. I don't really know what the full prompt was. I think I was having environmental anxiety about the state of the world. And I was in a position where, you know, I wasn't really willing to give up a lot of other things, if I'm being completely honest. I'm not vegan. I'm not zero waste. I try to do as best I can in other areas, and I've made a lot of other small changes. But when I looked at clothes and sustainability, I thought this change makes the most sense if I can. And to be honest, I just wanted to see how challenging it would be to totally cut it out. And here we are, we're 2.5 years later. I will link my 1 year update if anyone wants to watch that. That was obviously at the very, very start of the pandemic, and we're obviously going into 2022 now. As I said, technically I should be coming up to 3 years fast fashion free, but I bought some things. I think it's very important to be transparent about that. I was debating about sharing this. I was debating about being like, I go back and forth on whether I see them as massive transgressions, that's the word, isn't it? Or not, like I go between it. But I think if I wasn't transparent, I don't think that's fair to you guys. If you have been encouraged to go on a journey from me, I think it's important to be very honest. So I think initially I took a much harder line when it came to shopping fast fashion, other people shopping fast fashion, what I would give and receive, whatever. And I remember thinking, as I was going through that first year, it was kind of like reverse psychology. I kind of said to myself, look, if you really want something, you can get it. And then when it came to stuff that maybe I kind of wanted, the longer I sat on it, I realized that I actually didn't. That was fine for year one. Obviously 2020, I think I kind of had my experience with giving up fast fashion in reverse, maybe. So I found 2019 was okay. 2020, obviously we were in a pandemic, so I wasn't out that much. I didn't need to be seen in particular clothes or whatever. We were obviously all in pajamas, sweatpants. I don't need to make those jokes. So I think I found that easier. And then 2021 was the year that things, to be honest, got trickier for me in terms of gaps in my wardrobe for stuff that I needed. And also just confidence. And that was one of the questions that came in. Someone asked about feeling confident in clothes, and they got confidence from new clothes. And this was the year that I got that. And I have definitely started to feel it towards the end of the year, especially as I was kind of on TV a bit more and stuff, and life got busier. I just found myself feeling a bit, I don't know what the word is, in comparison to all the other girlies and boys doing everything. I just felt a little bit lost again, and I felt like I was looking at my wardrobe and was just like, oh, not this again. A lot of the comments that I always get in our questions is about underwear, socks, those kind of things, like the basics and the intimate stuff. And I had gotten some sustainable, I bought some sustainable socks. I can't remember if that was included actually in my last update video. They're from STÓR, STOR. I really, really recommend them. They're so soft and they wash really well. But to be honest, I was constantly asked about underwear as well. And at that point, I hadn't really needed any new underwear. Just didn't have underwear to wear. It was fine. If you have underwear, you don't need to buy more, you know what I mean? But I was down in Cork and I was just totally caught in the hop. I hadn't packed any underwear, so I had to go into Dunn's and buy underwear. Because I wasn't going to just sit in my own, you know. So why did my voice break there? The other thing then that I got was, it was actually a gift, so I didn't buy it. I got a new coat for Christmas from my family. And it is from a fast fashion brand. And I love it. I feel guilty even saying that, but I'm really at a place now where I'm happy enough with my call on it, because it's a coat. It's an everyday coat. I need to wear it. It's not, I just feel like because my attitude towards fashion has changed, that I can justify these purchases a bit more. And I'm happy to kind of draw a line under this and say, look, and recognise that, to be honest, it's a very good and very big achievement that I went 2.5 years without buying fast fashion. And I've bought these things now, and we're going into 2022, but I would like to go, let's try and go for the 3 years now. You know what I mean? Because I've proved that I could do it. So just have to take care of these clothes and keep them nice and keep them well. That was the other learning about this final year actually as well, was that As much as I initially found it easy, and it did get a bit harder from a psychological perspective, confidence, yada yada, all that jazz, I realised that even though I was making a big effort not shopping fast fashion and trying to shop less overall, I wasn't taking very good care of my clothes. So anyone who vaguely knows me knows that I can be a bit of a messy person. My nickname at home is Sticky Spice. I can be very messy, eating, drinking, whatever. So my clothes can get stained a lot. And I wasn't washing them properly. I wasn't washing them like quickly enough, and then clothes would be getting wrecked. There was a lot of instances where I was careless, or even, again, as I said, not washing them properly, washing them on the wrong settings so that they'd shrink or whatever, and you could never wear stuff like that again. I think that's a conversation that is missed a lot of the time when we talk about fast fashion and clothes care and our wardrobes and everything like that. I'm not the qualified person to talk about this. Anything I know about taking care of my clothes, I have learned from Laura DeBarra, aka Gaff Goddess. She has 2 incredible books. You should buy them both. And she also, she's done this whole new series with Bosch about like minding your washing machine and how to use it properly to take care of your clothes, because if you take care of those clothes, they will last longer, is the thing. So yeah, that's where I'm at. In summary, I did 2.5 years. I learned a lot of things. I learned that being sustainable and giving up fast fashion and having a more sustainable wardrobe also means taking care of your clothes with how you wash them, put them away, fold them, iron them. Well, actually, don't mention the folding. Let's not. Don't tell Laura how I fold my clothes. Oh, it's also not necessarily about buying a load of stuff secondhand, a load of vintage stuff. It's not about filling your wardrobe with other new, more sustainable clothes. I don't mean more sustainable in bunny ears there, but I mean new as in you're throwing out the old wardrobe and bringing in this new secondhand, sustainable, slow fashion wardrobe. It really is ultimately about looking at what you have, what you can work with, and buying less. It's not about, for me anyway, I know other people feel differently, but for me it's not about shaming someone for buying something in pennies once every 4 to 6 months, but it's about looking at haul culture and looking at how we look at fashion and how we look at it as disposable, and just thinking that's weird, right? That's not really normal, is it? Because it's not. It's just simply not. People sent in questions. I'm going to bring down the laptop and we're going to answer them now, and hopefully yours will be answered. Also, it will help me if I can't remember any brand names of slow fashion stuff that people want to know. Good places to shop. I love the charity shop, will always love the charity shop. I love Depop. With those 2 platforms, I know there can be limitations again when it comes to sizing, people not labeling sizes correctly, people buying up bigger sizes to have them altered. This is something I will put my hand up that I've done previously. That is not a good thing to do. I think it's okay if you're like if you're to buy a size up maybe and you want to wear it oversized, or there's small things you want to be altered with, but you can't be going in and buying the size 20s and beyond because you want to, not all the time, because you want to make like cute little cords or stuff, or you want to bring it to be altered to fit you. That's not fair because you're taking clothes from those people. Other places then, I'm always shouting out Studio Minti, Babydoll Vintage is online, Reverie, adverts people shout out all the time. I got my red sequin Halloween dress on there, and I've actually sold more on there than I have Depop, because a later question is asking about selling there. I have had better luck on adverts, I'm going to be totally honest. I think Depop is like a really flooded marketplace right now. There's actually a really good piece in The Guardian at the minute that I got on Studio Minti's Patreon, which I would also recommend. I will link it down below, and I will have a screenshot of it here if you want to search it for yourself, just talking about how is Depop kind of feeding into the problem of fast fashion. But I've also gotten like brand new shoes on there. Brand new shoes, incredible quality stuff. You just you do have to do a bit of digging. I have a video on how to shop kind of successfully on Depop further back on my Instagram, depending on where you're watching this. Do you miss anything or any shops? I don't miss the shops. The experience of being in any of those high street shops is horrific. And the queues and everything, I don't miss that. I don't miss the dressing rooms. I don't miss any of that bullshit, if I'm going to be totally honest. In terms of brands, I would miss the likes of Zara, but again, you can get a lot of that on Depop. Like, that's kind of it, to be honest. If you want to ever look up a brand that you want to shop from, or a shop that you're currently shopping at to see how they rate, there's a directory called Good On You, and they have a brand directory where you can search a brand and it will give them ratings on water usage, like sustainability, labor, everything from the materials they use, their water wastage, recycling. It's very good, and I think it's a 1 to 5 rating. So the last time I checked, this could be incorrect now, but I think Marks and Spencer's at like a 3 out of 5, and then your likes of your Misguided, your Boohoo's, your Pretty Little Things, I think it was like 1 to 2 stars for all of them. Do you find it hard to find wardrobe staples or basics? I didn't previously, probably because I wasn't looking for them, but I do now because I'm trying to go in a different direction with my style, kind of. And because I'm doing more TV, I do need to dress a little more smartly. Not that I didn't think I dressed smartly. She says that she records this in pajamas, but I love, as I said, I love pattern, I love statement pieces, and initially I was buying a lot of those, but the issue with them is then that they don't go with a lot of other things in my wardrobe. So I am kind of slowly starting to, I have a lot of stuff in my basket on Depop at the minute that is kind of more, you know, as I said, like your Zara, your kind of, your H&M basics. That's another question that I'll get to as I'm talking about it. Some people ask me if I shop fast fashion secondhand, and the answer is yes, I do. I know other people don't. For me, I would just rather continue the life cycle of a piece, and I can usually tell what's going to be decent quality and what's not. And I don't do it that often, but I think because those brands are so good at kind of nailing trends, they're good at getting basics right as well, I think. Where do you buy knickers and tights? I did a video on a brand called SNAG. They do sustainable tights. They are very affordable in comparison to a lot of high street brands. So I would watch that video if you haven't already. I will link it below. 2 brands that I know that do sustainable underwear, there's Stripe and Stare, and there's Organic Basics. I haven't bought from Stripe and Stare yet. Organic Basics, I haven't tried the underwear, but I have a tank top from them that I was sent in PR, and it's incredible. The quality is so good. I love it. So they're 2 brands to check out. People ask me how much money I saved. Like, again, because I was still, I wish I tracked this properly, because if I boiled it down, I probably did save money, but I would also say that I moved it into other areas and started spending in other areas like food and eating out and makeup. And I also, as I said, I did, just because I stopped shopping fast fashion initially doesn't mean that I stopped shopping. I still bought a lot, and I still justified a lot of like secondhand charity shop hauls and bought stuff that I didn't necessarily need, just because I was like, well, I can't buy fast fashion, so I have to buy everything in this shop. Oh, good question. If you receive vouchers for, say, pennies or a shop like that as a present, would you use them? To be honest, as much as my family, not that they don't get the sustainability thing, they do, like the set and giving up fast fashion thing, they do, but they just think it's totally mental to be doing it for as long as I have done. So they have never bought me, they've never bought me clothes, or they've never buy me vouchers for a place like that. And I don't get sent stuff like that in PR. If I'm ever contacted about clothes, there's usually some kind of sustainability angle. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, the situation hasn't arisen, and I don't think it will. I probably would just pass them on. How to get out of the mindset of I need it and sure it's only X amount of euro. I just went cold turkey on like the apps and the emails, and I unfollowed, like, I didn't unfollow all the fashion people that I follow on Instagram, because I still think they can be a good source of inspiration, and I think it kind of motivates you to put in a bit more work to shop thriftily and sustainably and try to replicate the outfit secondhand. That is hard. I would say, because I don't consider myself a particularly fashionable person either, I probably found it easier than maybe the average person would. But I would just say deleting the shopping apps and unsubscribing from the emails is probably the first thing to do, because you're just going to be, you're constantly bombarded with sales. And also if I was going past shops, I wouldn't let myself go into those shops. I would go into another, I'd go in and like look at makeup or something, or again, food shopping. Someone asked about pajamas. Again, I haven't needed to get any new pajamas because I have a lot of like massive t-shirts, as I think maybe a lot of people do, I don't know. Like we have a lot of like bandwagons merch that I would always buy as pajamas, like pajama tops, and these were sustainably made and ethically sourced. These are actually from Doon Duh Vail. That's a very small operation, all sustainably done. You should check them out, unrelated. Otherwise, Moon and Mellow is an Irish sustainable pajama brand. Someone asked about gym outfits. I haven't needed to buy anything new, but I know my friend Fionnuala Moore, when we did the live for Secondhand September, she said she's gotten a load of like brand new Gymshark stuff on Depop. I absolutely love Organic Movement as well. They sent me PR a while back of like a yoga top and yoga leggings, but like I don't do yoga, I just use them to train. And I'm fully going to repurchase them whenever they fall to bits, because they are just the softest leggings I've ever felt in my entire life. They're not cheap, but I mean, I'll pay for quality like that. And also they look really nice on me, not to be vain, but I like how they look on me. So do you find it difficult to stay trendy, or do you get pieces that are staples? I think I've kind of already answered the staples things. Sometimes I really do. And I think someone asked, either later on maybe, someone asked about, has there ever been something that you really, really wanted to buy and couldn't, and like how did you talk yourself out of it? Pippa O'Connor posted a dress while she was pregnant. I think the brand is Olivia Rubin. It was like, I think it's a maxi dress, or maybe it was just a skirt. It was like real candy coloured stripes. I was like, this is me in a dress, I need it, blah blah blah. And when I went looking, I couldn't find anything concrete about their sustainability practices. And I like, oh my god, it took everything. This was way earlier in 2021, whenever that was. I was like, it took everything in me to be like, don't buy it, you can't buy it, like whatever. And I still think about it. It's stunning. If anyone knows anything about that brand and can tell me anything concrete and good about them, let me know, because I would buy the dress tomorrow if I could. All their stuff is really nice, all their colorways and stuff I really love. But yeah, those moments like that, I'm like, oh, I would love to buy that. Someone was asking about appropriate office wear. Again, I work from home, so I'm probably not best placed to answer that. And again, we would have a relatively casual office, and I have a relatively casual job, so I would never expect it to be kind of in suits and stuff. But I have gotten a lot of really nice suits and like fun, fast fashion-y suits secondhand on Depop. If you still are following a lot of fashion bloggers, a lot of them end up selling a lot of their stuff back on Depop. So if you have a favourite person that you follow and you're obsessed with their wardrobe, check them out on Depop, because they're probably there and they're probably selling their wares for... They should be selling them cheap, because that's the ethical thing to do. But anyway, that's not a discussion for today. Controlling charity shop buys. My magpie sees cool stuff and says mine, then doesn't end up wearing them. I hope you mean, I hope you're referring to yourself and not that you go around with an actual magpie, or if you do, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I had to put a stop to this year, because I was getting stuff and again leaving stuff that needed to be altered, and the altered pile was getting bigger, but I still seemingly had nothing to wear. So to be honest, I just had to have a firm chat with myself, or it might come to a point where if you literally just don't have room, or you find yourself spending a lot of money on stuff that, as I said, maybe you're not ready to wear yet. For me, like, I bought a blue, I've worn it a good bit recently, like a blue, you could wear it as a coat or a dress. This blue tuxedo, gold buttoned, long line thing, and it needed to be taken in a little bit and taken up because it was too long. And that was sitting in my wardrobe for months. I totally forgot about it. It is just self-discipline. It is literally just being like, what are you actually doing here? Bring that to the alterations place now. Or if you're looking at something and it seems like you're gonna have to put in a lot more money or a lot more work to actually want to wear it, then you need to just immediately put it back. Like, it's probably not worth it. What's the crack with organic cotton? It's hardly any better, is it? Is it just greenwashing? Yeah, organic cotton is kind of greenwashy. I have this piece here from Eco Stylist, and it's basically talks about how organic cotton is not the magic solution we've all been looking for. There's concerns around how unsustainable farming practices are offsetting the potential benefits of organic cotton. Like, you've large corporations entering that market to be seen to be sustainable, but it's actually what they end up doing is not sustainable at all. And as it stands, organic cotton only makes up like less than 1% of the world's global cotton production. So, kind of, yeah, greenwashy. How do you deal with occasion wear when you need something very specific? Again, I'd go back to the rental options and borrow off your friends. Like, again, I know that's not going to be feasible for everyone, but if you're looking at me, a woman who has other female identifying friends, we're all in around the same age, we're all going to the same kinds of events like weddings, whatever, we're all buying or have bought for occasions like this. We might all be similar sizes. It's worth asking. But renting is a very good option as well. And otherwise, again, you would be surprised what you get on Depop, because a lot of people buy dresses for weddings like that, never plan on wearing them again, because this whole idea of you can't wear the same dress to another wedding. Yes, you can. Who made that rule? Dumb. You'd be surprised. You could get something very nice. Someone asked, do you mainly shop secondhand or stores that are categorized as slow fashion, or a mix? Mainly secondhand, to be honest, purely because a lot of slow fashion is expensive. And I found a lot of the stuff that is made ethically is produced in the UK, so you're talking about added on taxes as well, because they're not in the EU. Tips for starting, to be honest, would be look at what you already have, go through your wardrobe, clear it out. Anything you're not wearing, I think, needs to either be donated or sold. Look at what you love wearing, wear regularly. Then for me, it was a case of unsubscribing from the emails, deleting the apps, and honestly, just taking it day by day. Like, as I said, if you're a person who shops more than I did, who's more into fashion than I did, you are going to find it significantly harder. But it's not about punishing yourself, it's about trying, and it's about simply buying less. It's not necessarily about, as I said, taking your wardrobe out, throwing it out, starting from scratch. That's not it. That's not what we're doing here. It's absolute baby steps. Bras, I don't wear them. I think my days are numbered when it comes to that. But in terms of brands that do bras, Lara Intimates, Organic Basics, STÓR, I think maybe do. Stripe and Stare again. Parade, but I think they're US based, so maybe double check that. Was it difficult to find exactly what you wanted secondhand? Sometimes, as I said, those kind of basics, those plain t-shirts and stuff can be hard, but as I said, I haven't really needed them up until this year, when I'm kind of re-looking at my wardrobe and re-examining it for TV. But it's not impossible. I just think then you need to be looking more at the slow fashion brands than going secondhand. But I've gotten like a lot of really nice things. Like, there's some things in my wardrobe I'm like, so proud is the wrong word, because I did absolutely nothing to make them happen and be here. But I just love them in my wardrobe. I love them. I've such appreciation for my clothes now. I'm gonna do a separate video going through some of my favorite secondhand and vintage pieces, just so you can get some inspiration. I think that is it. I think I've answered everything. I will add anything or any notes into the description. If you have any questions, leave them below and I will try my best to answer them. But again, just to stress, I'm only trying. I'm only doing the best that I can. The clock restarts for me today. Today is day one, giving up fast fashion once again. And also, yeah, sorry, I'm not an expert on the environment, clearly. So any big questions like that, I'm gonna have to shoot you on to someone else, because I probably won't be able to answer them. But yeah, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And again, if you want to take one thing away from this video, shop less, buy less, look at your wardrobe, appreciate your clothes, wash them properly and carefully. That's it. That is it. I will see you next time. Bye.